guys, it's Dan and Mariah, and today we're going to answer the question, how do you know you are over your ex? We both feel like we're able to touch on this topic because before we found each other, we both had long-term relationships.
Yeah.
I was in a relationship for 2.5 years.
And I was in a relationship for 3.5 years, maybe just under that.
And we also both had really different experiences as to how we knew we were ready when we met each other. So,
Yeah, I think it's a touchy subject, like when it comes to like breakups, and I think that I want to make sure to treat it with sensitivity and care and gentleness. But it's something that's real. It's something that, I think our vision for this YouTube channel is to have the conversations that we wish we heard.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of conversations that people have behind closed doors, or we need to have together, and we're like, oh, I wish we had a couple that was older than us or a bit further ahead in their journey than us, where we can kind of listen into their conversations or be like a fly on the wall as they have conversations. So that's what we're hoping to be. Again, we don't love talking about breakups. We don't love talking about past relationships, but I think it's a necessary conversation, and it's a real thing that people are going through. So
Yeah, so when Daniel and I met, I had been out of my relationship for a year, and that year was a hard year, but a great year. And I was able to spend it really growing in my relationship with God first and foremost, getting integrated into community, so back with friends. Sorry, I'm distracted by the dinging.
It's okay, continue to talk, and then as she talks, I'm just going to turn off the dinging. I'll be right back.
Okay, so I was able to get integrated into community just more intentionally than I was before. So I dove right into being super involved at church. I was a youth leader. I joined a small group, and I really just felt all the feels. I remember how crucial it was for me in that time to have my best friends and even my family that I could just cry with. I am a big feeler, and so I really needed to feel all those feelings. And I remember I had good friends in my life that would tell me, it might take a long time, but don't be discouraged. You will get over it. And so if you're watching this video and you're going through a breakup and you just feel like, man, it's been a few months and I still feel so held back by this, I want to tell you, don't worry, you will get over it. If you're intentional about your healing process, you will get over it. And so in that year, that's what I learned. I was able to come to a place of forgiveness, understanding, healing, and thankfully, before I met Daniel, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a bit of your side of the story?
Yeah, for sure. Before I met Mariah, I had gotten out of a relationship that was about 3.5 years long. Awesome person. I just knew it wasn't the right fit. And for me, I just knew that I needed to go into a season of singleness. It was a bit shorter than Mariah's. I was in ministry, and so I'm currently in ministry. But I was just trying to sort out, okay, what does it look like to be someone who is pursuing purity, pursuing ministry, pursuing just overall holiness as a young person. And I remember I was pretty clear on the fact that I didn't want to date around, and that the next person I dated, I wanted to have be my wife. And so there's a lot of things that I really wanted to set up as metrics for me to determine, okay, am I ready for a relationship or not? One of the metrics was, okay, what does my thought life look like in respects to the other person? Like, am I going to their social media accounts to check up on them, or to rehash memories and kind of stew on that? Am I someone who is going through our photos? Am I keeping photos of them in my camera roll? And I think that a huge part for me, I guess for a first kind of initial stage, was like, okay, am I someone am I in this stage where I'm still thinking about this person, or am I in this place where I'm kind of moved on and the person is capturing less and less of my imagination? And obviously, it's a best friend. It's a close friend. It's someone who you shared a lot of memories with. So we're not expecting, and I wasn't expecting for myself to be able to cut this person off from my memory and from my life cold turkey. I still have memories with that person, but I think a part of my thinking was to get to a place where I wasn't being captivated by that relationship and the memories that were built in it.
Yeah, that's so good. I think a big way that I knew, okay, I think I might be over this now, and I think I might be ready for something else, is whenever that person came up in conversation, or whenever that person came to mind even, I just felt like I had no hard feelings. I just felt like I totally wanted the best for them and wished them well without actually wanting to be with them. And I think when I came to that spot, I realized, okay, I'm in a really healthy, good place, that if this person comes up, or if someone said to me, hey, were you dating so-and-so? That I could say, oh, no, we broke up, but I really hope they're doing well. And when I came to that spot and I really, truly felt that was huge for me. Because I knew I wouldn't be bringing any baggage of, like, hurt or bitterness into my next relationship, which is really unfair to your next relationship if you're bringing that in.
And something else that I remember in that season where that breakup happened, and the window between the breakup and meeting Mariah, I was living with my youngest brother, and I remember turning to him and saying, like, I wonder if God might be calling me to celibacy. And I was just in this place where I was so consumed by ministry. I was just loving my job, loving life, loving living with my bro. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just not someone who's going to get married. And I would say, like, one neat, I guess, determiner of whether you're ready to move on or not is how content you are with not being in a relationship. Because I would say that when you're in this place where you're like, because I think that it's natural human tendency to, like, if we lose something, to replace it with another thing. It's like if I am at the beach as a little kid, for example, and a big wave comes and a precious shell that I saved gets washed away by the rapturous wave, I want to quickly go get another shell to replace the void I'm feeling from losing my precious shell. You get where I'm going with this?
I get where you're going.
And I think that sometimes our tendency in relationships is to, like, when we lose a relationship that's so precious and tender, is to quickly replace it with another person. And I was in a season, ironically enough, Mariah came into my life fairly quickly after my breakup, but, like, I was in this place where I was like, okay, I'm content and want to go a year or even a year and a half before dating someone. And I really felt content in and of myself not to jump right into a relationship right away. Mariah and I ended up dating just under a year of dating, or of meeting, and that worked out really well. But I think that a key marker for me where I knew, okay, I could be ready for another relationship, was there wasn't anything in my heart that felt like, oh, I need to get into a relationship for a sense of validation or fulfillment or sense of belonging.
You really don't want to feel any sort of desperation, I feel like, when you're moving on to another relationship. If you feel like a desperation to have a person in your life and have that person you can lean on, or a desperation to just, like, forget that other person and move on, I feel like that's kind of like a red flag, I would say. And you really want to feel content. Content with life, content with your past, and healed from all of that, and able to just walk into something if it comes your way. Or if not, you're content. So it's all good. So I feel like, that lack, you don't want to feel desperate. You don't want to feel desperate in those moments at all. Another thing for me, as you think about your question, is, like, something that I really leaned on when it came to determining whether I was ready for a relationship or not was my community. I think sometimes when it comes to, like, buying a new pair of shoes,
when it comes to choosing a college, when it comes to deciding which concert to go to, people really lean into their friends, lean into mentors, lean into family members to determine what's the best decision. But for some reason, when it comes to relationships and even determining whether we're ready or not for relationships, we almost like rob ourselves of the gift of leaning into community and really asking our parents, if you have healthy relationships with them, mentors, if you have one, good friends, trusted mentors, and really saying like, hey, what do you think? Like, based on how I've been processing, based on the perceived level of psychological, emotional, spiritual health you've been seeing in my life, based on the fruit that you're seeing come from how I operate and how I live, do you think I'm ready to reintegrate? I really feel excited about the potential of finding someone who could kind of be my significant other. But what do you think? And I think that like things sometimes are like, what does the prophet say? The prophet says, the heart is deceitful, who can know it? And I think that sometimes we like to convince ourselves that we're ready, and the reality is something that I've learned from whether it be watching like reality TV shows where it's like a weight loss challenge, or if it's someone telling themselves they can do something that if you look on the outside, or even like American Idol, for example, like humans are capable of convincing themselves of the wildest things. They could do something, So we can sometimes tell ourselves that we're ready to hop in a relationship when we're not actually ready to hop into that relationship.
Yeah, having those friends in your life is so important. That will just be so honest in a kind and loving way with you, whether they think you're ready or not. And also having multiple voices. Because sometimes, you know, there's a friend that just hates on everything you do.
Yeah, or loves everything that you do. Or loves everything which is just as bad.
And that's so true. And you don't need to listen to just one friend.
I'm telling you, sorry, finish what you're saying.
Just get advice from different people, friends, family, that know you well.
I'm like I feel like I'm probably even more impacted negatively by friends who love everything I do than friends who hate everything I do. And I guess I don't really have friends that hate everything I do, because then that'd be kind of like counterintuitive.
Like, why are they your friends?
Yeah, why are they? Yeah. But the last thing I'll say, actually, maybe you want to, maybe say your thing.
Okay, I'm curious as to what you think about closure. Ooh. Because, and I know it probably varies from relationship.
Burn the love letters. What? Burn the sweater.
Like no, I'm saying like when you go through a break. Why do you want to burn something?
When I was thinking about closure, I just think of like,
you good?
The guy or the girl that says like, oh, I'm going to get closure by burning.
No. Well, like maybe, but I was
feels so dramatic.
It does feel dramatic. I was more talking about the type of closure when you've broken up and maybe it's been a while, and then one person reaches out to the other and they're like, I just need closure.
Oh.
And I just need a conversation.
Yeah.
And it could be you feeling like you need that with them, or them feeling like you need that with you, or like I just want to hear your thoughts, because I feel like that has so much opportunity to get so messy. And just to be like why? Like for me, I'm like, do you really need closure, I guess?
And I guess my philosophy on relationships, especially past relationships in general, is I never want to burn bridges. Yeah. So I always want, like, I think highly of all the people. Like, I guess it hasn't been many people, but
many
it hasn't been many people. I feel like fine, and I think highly of those women. Yeah. And I would always champion whatever they're doing, and obviously because of the nature of our current relationship and me being married now, championing and
like being friends
just looks different. Yeah. But I think that a key thing to keep in mind is really being respectful and supportive, but also clear. Mm-hmm. Like I think sometimes people can and I think sometimes I've been guilty of not being as clear, but I think it's so important to be like not only clear with your word, saying like, I just don't see a future, or if you're being the person broken up with, it's important to say like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. I'm either not wanting to continue the relationship, or I don't feel like I'm super satisfied with how it ended, or I want to know where you're at. It's just, no matter which side you are on the pendulum, it's so important to be clear, but it's so important to be loving and respectful. I think at the end of the day, something that I always asked myself is like, if if my daughter or son saw me operating in this time of breaking up, or even breaking up, would they be proud? And then the other question I ask is if my daughter or son was on the recipient side of my behavior, would they feel respected and honored?
Yeah.
And I think that in every breakup I've had, which is maybe 2 or 3, I could say. You just said K like you didn't believe it. It was 2 or 3. No, I'm kidding. Which was in every breakup I've had, which was 2 or 3. I feel like I was able to do that, and I feel like that was the most honorable thing you could do. Yeah. And people's perception is one thing, but it's just so important. It's so important to make sure the person's feeling heard, honored, respected, and also feel like you're being clear with them as well.
That's so good. I just want to give one last encouragement to people who might be listening, that breakups are always going to be hard, even if you know it was the right decision, even if you know it wasn't the right person for you and it was unhealthy maybe, it's still probably going to be really hard. And so don't be discouraged if you're going through a hard time, and don't let those feelings convince you that, just because this is so hard, maybe that means I'm meant to be with them. It doesn't always mean that, and you just have to go through it. And
I think something that people need to parse out too is like, you're not only breaking up with a romantic partner, but you're breaking up with a friend. So it's like you're gonna have hard feelings no matter what. So that's why I always tell people, if you're gonna go into a relationship with someone who's a friend of yours, just ask yourself, do you so believe in the romantic potential of this relationship that you're willing to lose the friendship?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask. Anything else?
The last thing I would say, in knowing, I guess in determining whether you're ready to move on to another relationship, is like, am I deeper in my relationship with God now than I was when I was in the relationship? I think naturally relationships, the inertia of relationships can lead you away from more time. It's simple math. It's like, if you have 24 hours in a day and you're single, and you have 24 hours in your day and you're in a relationship, you naturally have more time to spend time with God when you're single than when you're in a relationship. And so it's just like, you need to ask yourself, okay, am I doing better in my relationship with God as an independent than I was in a relationship? And then if that's the case, that's usually a good indicator. Again, supported and like encouraged by your community, that's usually a good indicator of like, yes, maybe it's worth me pursuing something else. Yeah.
It's good.
Anyways, we're done.
Continue the conversation in the comments. We would love to hear what you have to say, hear any questions you have about getting over relationships or being prepared for your next one. Make sure you like and subscribe. And we will see you next week.
All the best. Like the exact date I broke up with her?
Oh, I thought you were saying dating.
Or started dating? I don't remember. I actually don't remember. Maybe 17th, because I probably did something. Probably did like
St. Patty's.
Yeah, like themes. Canada Day, St. Patty's. It's kind of like a theme I have going.
The like lower level holidays.
Yeah, it's just like memorable, but not that memorable. Because Christmas would be a bit too much.